What's up, everybody? Aaron here, and welcome to another Monday Musings. Alright, so we'll talk about money a little bit because, well, let's be honest, most of us are on the struggle bus, and when you're on the struggle bus, you think about money a lot. So, my friend Janine, who is a happiness coach and posts over at Practically Janine on Instagram, posted this thing last week about the $75,000 principle. And I'd never heard of this before. Maybe some of y'all have, but it was new to me. And the idea behind the $75,000 principle is that that's about, give or take a little bit, but that's about the amount of money that it takes on average as an annual income to live fairly comfortably in the U.S. And I really wanted to argue with her about it. I'm doing the Dave Ramsey thing. I'm only in baby step 1, but my wife and I were, we lived for quite a while below that number, and we did okay-ish. Would have done better if we'd been following a budget and Ramsey principles at that point, but anyway, I really wanted to argue with her about this, but I thought about it, and I crunched some numbers, and yeah, I can't argue with that. If you kind of break it down, $75,000 annual gross income, figure 10-15% tax bracket nationally, plus whatever state income tax you're getting screwed with, and healthcare. Anyway, probably taking home, let's say 65,000 a year. Let's say 60 because that's an easy round number. You can divide that by 12 and you get about 5,000 a month net take home, which, unless you're even following kind of the good budgeting principles of don't be paying more than a quarter of your monthly salary in rent or mortgage, gives you 12,500 to play with, and most places in the country, that's more than enough for at least a 2-bedroom apartment, let's say. Around here, that gets you a 3-bedroom apartment or a mortgage on a 3-bedroom house, but obviously your mileage may vary a bit if you have the misfortune of living in Seattle or San Francisco or Los Angeles, or some other hellhole where rent prices are through the roof. You may have a problem. But in general, if you take home $5,000 a month and you're only spending $1,250 on your home and you're living on a budget within your means, that's a pretty good amount of money to still be able to go out and have a little fun. So yeah, I can't argue with her. It's possible to live decently on well below that? Sure, absolutely. Again, my wife and I did it for a long time. You just have to be really, really intentional about your budget. And think about where you live, all of that stuff. Or you just spend yourself into massive credit card debt and declare Chapter 11, or get foreclosed on and have debt collectors coming after you for unpaid credit cards eventually. But yeah, I don't recommend that approach. Been there, done a little bit too much of that. So yeah, budget, follow Dave Ramsey, debt free, all of that. Much better way to go. Anyway, I thought it was interesting though. Wanted to kind of unpack it, think about it a little bit. Janine, because she's a happiness coach, she kind of takes it more to, if you're under that number, well, maybe that's one of the reasons you're stressed, because you're trying to get there. And it's a natural point of stress because you're under that number and there's just kind of some friction in trying to live a middle class lifestyle if you're under that number. And if you're over that number and you're still stressing about everything, maybe take a look at your life and figure out what needs to change so you're not as stressed. I thought it was interesting. So yeah, that's kind of my thing this week. We're getting more snow. I've been slacking a little bit at the gym, unfortunately, but we're getting back to it. It's December. My middle son just had his birthday today, so I'm about to have 2 teenagers, 1 preteen, and my younger 2 are getting there. Yeah. I'll talk about a decade wrap up in a few weeks. How about that? The teens were interesting. Then again, I can't really point to any decade in my life that hasn't been full of all sorts of major life changes, and I can't imagine that the next decade is going to really be any different. It's just, when you think about the fact that you've probably only got 70, 80, maybe 90 years in your life, you kind of figure every decade's going to have some major stuff. So, alright, wow, that's way too philosophical for one of these. So, on that note, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week. Till then, remember, keep your knees in the breeze and the shiny side up. Bye, everybody.